Am I an idiot for demanding my parents to pay me for keeping my sister for the weekend? I female 20, have an 11-year-old little sister. Last weekend, my grandfather passed away, and my parents flew out for his funeral. My parents asked me if I could watch my sister for the weekend at my apartment. I had agreed, and had asked my parents how much they'd pay me, and they said they'd let me know when they get back what they had because they were low on money, and this trip was going to put them back. Basically, my sister stayed for the weekend. I went out and bought a bunch of kid-friendly groceries, and we had a lot of fun together. Come Sunday night, my parents come to pick us, and they start to leave. I remind them about paying me. They got all awkward and said they decided it wasn't necessary for all the things they've done for me, and I was her sister, I should be happy to help. I said no, you need to pay me. I reminded them of the groceries I bought and the pizza, and how I had called out of work for the weekend to watch her. They told me I was acting like a spoiled brat, and that I shouldn't act like watching my sister and helping my family is a chore. They left. I basically texted them saying I expected them to pay me within the week, or I would no longer be helping out. They just replied with, "We are your parents, not a bank. Sorry for your confusion, but there was never a money agreement. Since it was such a big deal to you, we won't need your help again." Even though there isn't a set agreement, I feel like I should have been paid. I don't think I'm acting spoiled, not an idiot. You should be reimbursed for the groceries and the salary you lost. You shouldn't get paid for your time. That's just helping out your family. Maybe if you make it clear to them that you only need to have your expenses covered, they'll understand. Everyone sucks here. They agreed to pay you and backed out, but your whole attitude sucks. They left for a funeral. It's not like they wanted a date night. It was a weekend. How much did you spend on food? She's also 11 and able to occupy herself. Are they taking advantage of OP? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I an idiot for fighting to steal a stranger's inheritance? My 27, male, dad 61, had this friend Jay, M54. Growing up, Jay was like an uncle to me. He taught me a lot of things about the world and was a huge mentor. Jay has been married to May, 51, female, for number 30 years. But around 21 years ago, Jay had an affair due to May sterility issues from which an illegitimate child, K, was born. Jay and May solved their issues and remained happily married. For 18 years, Jay paid child support, but other than that, wanted absolutely nothing to do with K. Yet, 3 years ago, when Jay was diagnosed with cancer, he tried to contact K, but at that point, K refused. Also, Jay had a brother who's got 2 boys. Jay told me personally he never really approved of his sister-in-law, but they get along fine. Sadly, Jay passed away last week. This wasn't unexpected news because he's been desperately fighting cancer for the past 3 years. I want to be transparent and admit that I was the one who convinced him to finally get checked and was there every step of the way with him. Used all my connections as a resident to get him the best treatment possible. A lot of people showed up at the funeral, including K and Jay's AP. It was heartwarming seeing so many people pay their respects. But May wasn't pleased seeing K and the AP there. And after the funeral, as Jay's executor, May told everyone what was in his will, 40% of his estate with May, 20% to his 2 nephews, 5% certain items and memorabilia to his friends, my dad included, rest to me. This caused a bit of an outrage with 3 people in particular, K, the AP, and the sister-in-law. The sister-in-law said her nephews should get more. Her eldest and Jay's brother quickly shut her down, though. From what Jay had told me about her, she's the kind of person to go to court over this, but his brother seemed reasonable and understanding, so hopefully nothing happens. K was livid. He went on about how dare Jay exclude him from his will when he couldn't even bother being a father, etc. He basically went on a tirade criticizing a man at his funeral. He also threatened to sue everyone. At this point, everyone got incredibly irritated, because in my country, if he sues, he is likely to at least get something. So I stepped in and made him an offer. I'll give him about 5% in cash right now, and he leaves everyone alone. We don't see his face ever again. His reply was that I can go feck myself, that I'm an entitled idiot who doesn't deserve anything from Jay and that he's going to sue for everything. I told him that he is welcome to sue, but if he does, I'll try my damnedest to make sure he receives nothing and also has to pay for our court fees. So that was that at the funeral. I'm waiting for him to sue at this point. But the thing is, today, while hanging out with my friends, I told the story. I thought it would be funny or entertaining. Thing is, a few of my friends disagreed. They called Jay an AH for abandoning Jay for 21 years, and me one for fighting for money I don't need and denying K his birthright. No idiots here, because Jay is dead. He thought he could waltz into K's life after refusing to be a father for decades. K had to grow up without one. Of course, he continues to be angry. And yeah, Jay should have provided something in his will as an apology. But you have no obligation to give him anything. You're an idiot. He left his wife because she couldn't have kids, which means he planned K and promptly abandoned them. K didn't ask to be born and thrown away like the tissue your pathetic uncle should have finished in. It's pathetic for you to continue his cycle of abuse. Your relationship with Jay is irrelevant. Jay owed it to K, and you know that. Is OP technically stealing? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I an idiot for telling my sister to stop buying my kids expensive gifts? I, female 35, have 3 kids with my DH, 31 WEM. We both try our hardest to provide for our kids the best way we possibly can, but still, there are quite a few limitations to the amount of luxury we can afford. My sister, female 24, got married to her wife, female 29, around a year ago. Every time she comes to pay us a visit, she would bring extremely expensive gifts that I could only dream of affording. Her wife works a high-end job and she's a very big spender. She would bring expensive clothing items like purses, dresses, or makeup products for my daughter, games for my son, sometimes electronic devices. It is confusing for my kids because they have been acting differently since she has been doing this. They push for items and ask for things way out of our budget. My husband and I have to explain every time how we cannot afford things like their aunt. I asked my sister before to cut back, but she hasn't really listened too much. This time, she brought my daughter a coat that was worth double my rent. I asked her to come into the kitchen and told her that she should cut back on these gifts. I explained to her exactly how this was affecting my kids, how it made them feel inferior and made them expect too much. I also told her it was harmful and asked her to please stop getting them gifts that were this expensive, and that otherwise, I wouldn't want her to spend a lot of time with them. She told me she just wanted to make them happy and apologized. I thought that was the end of it. At night, I got a phone call from my sister-in-law, my sister's wife, saying I had really hurt my sister emotionally with the way I put things that she cried when she got home. She said she was disappointed in me and asked me to not disturb my sister unless it was to apologize. Edit. This is also partially why I am so over this. My sister-in-law is a pretty chill person overall. She would be the calmer person even in the most stressful situation. However, when there is even a small problem between my sister and I, she loses all that chill energy and inserts herself into the issue. Problem is, my sister is all for it. I don't even know at this point. My sister is a very sensitive and emotional person, but I don't see what I did wrong here. I asked her to stop getting my kids expensive stuff because it makes them expect a certain luxury we surely can't afford. Should I apologize? Not an idiot. Great catch. OP, you made a reasonable request, and your sister's response is to cry to her wife, and her wife's response is to cut you out until you apologize for making a reasonable request. Neither of them have given a single thought about you. Not an idiot. I don't understand all these YTA. You set a boundary for your kids, and she didn't follow it. The coat is twice your rent. What does a 12U girl that is going to outgrow the coat want with a 2K plus coat? The gifts are frankly excessive. I have had family friends give us nice and expensive gifts, but never something so out of budget from my own parents because they realized how it could look. She could spoil them with experiences. Is she being unreasonable? Let me know in the comments. Now, would I be an idiot for continuing to wear a swimsuit in Friends' hot tub? I'm currently spending the week visiting a couple that I've been friends with for many years now. I get on really well with both of them, and it's nice to catch up and spend some time in their part of the country. They have a nice house and recently added a private hot tub area out the back and said I was welcome to use it. It's got a small sauna, the hot tub, and an outdoor shower. It's all enclosed for privacy. They're fairly open about the fact that they use it naked. I know they've visited European spas where swimwear isn't allowed and stuff. They're not naturists, but they just prefer not to wear anything in spas. They've got some little jokey signs up in the spa area about being nude. and another about etiquette like showering before getting in the hot tub and sitting on a towel in the sauna, etc. But one of the etiquette rules said that swimwear was not allowed, and I ignored that. I get that it's their thing, but it's not something I wanted to do. So I wore my swimsuit. I left it to dry with the towels, which they noticed and asked if I'd worn it. I told them that I had, and they told me that it wasn't appropriate because they don't allow swimwear. For me, it just felt weird to get naked because it's just a preference, and anyway, no one was around when I used it, so I didn't feel the need to follow that particular rule. I followed all the others. I said I just don't want to be out there naked and have someone come along and see me. I said I'd do it if they promise not to also use it while I am, or I don't mind them being naked, but I'd rather have something on. They both said that it's not a big deal to be naked in a spa, and that if I used it when they are out or working, then it's unlikely either of them will come out at the same time as me, but they won't promise to give me private use. They're saying, as if it's their house, I should respect their rules and use it without my swimsuit, but they're basically saying that I can't object if they then come and join me while I'm naked. It wasn't a super heated argument, just a debate about the principle. They've told me I shouldn't use it if I'm not willing to do so nude, and accept that they may also want to use it at the same time. Not an idiot. Why do they want you to be naked so badly? This isn't cultural. Most Europeans don't give a poop about what you wear to the beach, as long as you don't judge them for being titties out. Not an idiot. I wouldn't bother with the "am I the idiot" posts at all. I'd be leaving. There is no health or equipment maintenance reason to not wear a swimsuit. This is them being weird and pretentious, trying to emulate some European vibe that doesn't always align with social norms in other places. They don't get to demand nudity from you. Is she disrespecting their property? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for telling my nephew the truth? That no one in the family likes him? This involves me, 25M, my sister Diana, 31F, and her son Darius, 10M. I get along with my Diana fine. I won't pretend I like Darius. I think he's an entitled brat who has gotten away with crap far too many times. I don't think Diana has ever reprimanded him, and every time the little poop acts up, Diana makes excuses for him. He's already been suspended from school for stealing. He's a bully to all his cousins, and I know for a fact no one in my family likes him at all. Both of my parents cannot stand him. My mother, a woman who could find the love in her heart to babysit a honey badger, refuses to watch Darius at all because of his behavior. My father will take all of the grandkids out to fish every few months, except for Darius because he's too tempted to throw him out into the lake and drive off. His words, not mine. On Monday, I got a call from my sister who panicked because she got called into work. Darius was out of school and her babysitter was not available. No one else in the family will watch Darius, so I told her to drop him off and I would watch him. It was a nightmare. Darius was mad he had to spend his day off at my place. He refused to do anything I offered, made a mess in my bathroom, harassed my dog, and had a tantrum because I would not let him use my work computer to play games. By lunchtime, I was frustrated beyond all belief. I made him mac and cheese, and he demanded I take him to Wendy's. He refused to eat and eventually dumped his bowl of food on my floor. At that, I just kind of lost it. I didn't yell or get aggressive at all. I just sighed and asked him if he realized that everyone in the family literally despised him. I explained that he was at my house because Grandma and Grandpa cannot stand him, and in fact refused to let him come to their house because he acts like a little poop. I won't lie, I got pretty brutal. He started crying and locked himself in my bathroom until he came out and sat and watched TV till my sister came and got him. I told her what happened and she got into a massive argument as well. She called me cruel, and I told her that she's to blame and he would have learned eventually. My family is split on this. My dad thinks the little poop deserved it while my siblings have mixed opinions. My mother has told me she's staying out of this, but if I feel the need to apologize, do it and move on. You're an idiot, 100%. I'm a teacher, so I sympathize with having to deal with behavior problems like this, but you focus on the behavior as the problem, not the child. You do not tell a child that nobody likes them, especially their own family. That's how you give kids social anxiety, not how you fix behavior. Not an idiot. You did him a huge favor. Obviously, nothing anyone has said or done so far has made any impact. He needs to know that his behavior is already costing him relationships, and will continue to cost him relationships until he chooses to not act this way. Sometimes the truth is hard to hear, but when the truth is all that's left, that's what you've got to do. Sugarcoating it would not have gotten the point across, and avoiding it sure wasn't either. The pain and rejection felt will, hopefully, be a huge wake-up call. If it's not, he's going to have a very lonely life. I hope you've saved him from that. Was OP too harsh? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I the idiot for having no empathy toward my overly emotional wife by not picking her up? I'm male 26, wife is female 23, and we've been together for 3 years. Lately, my wife has been emotional, like every little thing sets her off. There wasn't a banana? She cries. No sugar? She cries. Missed her bus? She cries. I'd almost think she was pregnant. But we discovered after a year of trying to conceive that she's infertile. This was 2 months ago. She also recently had a baby start at her nursery, which also sets her off. So it's been a tough time. I've tried to be empathetic, but it's all the time tears. I'm so tired. Like each time she cries, I'll drop what I'm doing to comfort her, even if she calls me at work. She walks an hour to work. After a bus journey, she leaves at 6:30 to get to work at 9:30. That's how long the journey is. I told her I'd drive her. She didn't want me to. I told her to take an umbrella, and she forgot. She called me, sobbing. Because it rained like I said it would. She asked me to pick her up, and I said I couldn't because I had a meeting. She said, "I'm sure they'll understand." And truthfully, they have been understanding, but it's all the time, and I did warn her. I refused. She did get huffy, and when she got home that night, she wasn't crying. Shocker, but was mad, and hasn't spoken to me since, but we haven't seen each other much as she gets home late and still has work to do, coursework, etc. I asked a friend who insisted I'm TA. But my wife texted me to say she's considering taking driving lessons in June, which I thought was a win, but she's apparently still angry. Excuse my grammar, I'm typing this hurriedly before work in the ice cold, so my hands are numb. No idiots here. My man, before I was diagnosed with depression, I was your wife. I cried all day, every day, and I had no idea why, and that made me feel even worse because I felt like such a waste of space. I was so close to suicide, but I pulled myself back from the brink and got medical help. Your wife is clearly suffering, and you are too. Get your wife to talk to a doctor, not an idiot. She's clearly struggling and deserves your patience and support, but it was unreasonable for her to expect you to interrupt your workday and inconvenience your colleagues to handle a non-emergency.